we're in Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and we weren't supposed to come here at all. We were going to go to Vietnam, but due to some paperwork mishap, we had to book some emergency flights to somewhere else. So we ended up in Phnom Penh, and we weren't sure what to do here. So we hired a driver on Get Your Guide to take us around and tour the city and see what all Phnom Penh has to offer. So if you enjoy the tour that we were on today, we will put a link for it in the description of the video.
Booking a tour guide was 100% worth it. Traffic in Cambodia is kind of crazy, so I would not recommend renting a car and trying to drive around yourself. The tour guides will take you anywhere that you'd like to go, but if you don't know where to go, then they'll be happy to make suggestions.
This is independent monument. So we have the middle there and the statue.
This is a statue dedicated to the previous king of Cambodia. He was the one that was king during the Vietnam War. His son is now currently king. Our tour guide took us to where we can see the bats. There's a million little fruit bats in this tree hanging out. Pretty cool. They're big, they're a lot bigger than the cave bats.
This is the royal palace of the King of Cambodia. You can take tours of the palace. Unfortunately, on the day that we were visiting, the last tour was at 10:30 a.m. and we did not make it there in time. Next up, we visited a couple of beautiful pagodas.
You know, they say like that because Cambodian people now they like the temple. And temple and pagoda is much different. Pagoda is the good place, clear place. Inside of pagoda, no business, no money, no discrimination, no fighting, yeah, no exploitation each other. This is a pagoda. The place for teaching people to respect morality or human.
The next stop on our tour is the Wat Phenom, if I said that right, the pagoda on the hill. Entrance into all the places is not included in the tour, so you have to purchase your tickets for those at each place when you stop, but the tickets here were only $1 each, so we're going to go ahead and go check out the pagoda on the hill.
Next up on our tour is one of the most visited tourist spots in Phnom Penh, and that's the S-21 Museum. This memorial is not for the faint of heart. It paints a pretty gruesome picture of the genocide that happened in Cambodia in the late 70s. An organization known as the Khmer Rouge took over the government in Cambodia and forced mass evacuations of the major cities. Anyone thought to be conspiring against the government was brought here to S-21. This former school had been turned into a prison and torture facility. The prisoners were kept in these tiny cells where they were given barely enough food and water to survive. Then they were drug out one at a time and shackled to iron beds where they were tortured to reveal secrets that they didn't know about conspiracies that didn't exist against a government that should have never been. Visiting the S-21 Museum is a pretty gut-wrenching experience. It's a part of history that was left out of most US history books, even though this genocide took place less than 50 years ago.
The S-21 Museum was pretty horrifying, the terrible things that happened there. So then, of course, right after that, we went for lunch, which is, so now we're headed out to the killing fields, which is going to be another gruesome and sad spot.
The killing fields are part of the genocide that occurred in the 70s.
Both S-21 and the killing fields offer a detailed audio guide that explains everything that happened here. When it was deemed that a prisoner could reveal no more secrets, they were brought here to the killing fields to be brutally executed. Oftentimes they would be executed with a stalk of a plant that grows here that is naturally serrated. It was used to decapitate the victims. The killing fields are located on the outskirts of town, and it's very peaceful and serene out here. It's a shame that these fields are haunted by such a grisly past. This concluded our tour, so we had our guide drop us off at a market so we could shop like the locals do. This local market had everything you could think of, from food to clothes to auto parts. It's sort of like shopping at Walmart, only the conditions aren't what you're used to. This will conclude our time in Phnom Penh. Although it was an unscheduled stop, we did find it interesting. Tomorrow we're off to the beautiful island of Koh Rong, so be sure and like and subscribe because you're not going to want to miss this next adventure.